Hello everyone, thanks for checking out my video. So today's a snow day.
I got 2-foot snow drifts in front of the front door.
Yeah, that happened, but it's okay. I'm going to make best use of my time. And guess what came in the mail? My R9 280X. So I've been planning on putting this into a build ever since I ordered it. But what build is that going to be? Originally, I wanted to build a dedicated mining rig. But at this stage in the game, all I have is the one graphics card, and I really can't justify spending the time building a dedicated rig for one card. So what I'd like to do is accumulate a few more GPUs, and then when I have maybe 3 or 4, put them, actually the board that I want to use has 3 PCIe slots on it, so I want to get at least 3 cards in there. That would be ideal. So until I can acquire 2 more to go along with this one, what I'm going to do is just temporarily install it in my ESXi server. You see, I run an ESXi Hypervisor server, which allows me to create different virtual machines, and one of which I use for file serving, another I use for game servers and stuff like that. And the machine was built with a pretty robust power supply. It's like a 650 watt power supply, gold, and it has an extra PCI slot for a graphics card, so it just makes the most sense for me right now to go ahead and plug the card into the existing server and then configure a new virtual machine to run this card and mine with it. So this video is basically going to catalog start to finish how I do that, and I'll go into some of the more advanced configuration details for any of you guys who already have an ESXi server and are curious about how do I mine through a virtual machine. So let's get started. All right, here's my VMware ESXi server manager, and this just gives me an overview of my system. So as you can see here under hardware, I'm using an Asus Z9PA U8 motherboard. It's an older motherboard that uses DDR3 RAM, but I've been very happy with it. It's definitely doing a great job for me. The processor I have is a Xeon E5 2670. I think I may have paid like $60 for this processor, but it's 8 cores, 16 threads, so it gives me lots of threads to work with in terms of like making virtual machines, because I can plug in a different number of cores for each machine and divvy it up. I also have 32 gigs of RAM. A little bit of that is being used for ESXi. That's why it doesn't say exactly 32, but that's it. Whatever you see here, that 0.05 gig of RAM is being used for ESXi, and that's all it will ever take. Very low headroom here, so it's a great server environment, and it's free. So you can, log in, sign up, and download a copy of this and install it for free, which is great. So let me show you my virtual machines. I have 4 of them, but I really only use 2. This OMV is Open Media Vault, so I have 2 versions here. This is just the old version, and then I've upgraded to OMV 3. So this is the one that I run normally. And then Windows 10 Pro VM, this is another one that I run mostly for game servers. So I have like 7 Days to Die and Rust, and that's pretty much it for that server, honestly. I used to run them on this one, Windows 7, but see, as these things are upgraded, I kind of hang on to the older, just in case I ever have to revert back or something like that. But they don't take up a whole lot of space. You can see here, just under 8 gigs here and just under 10 gigs there. So my Windows 10 is the largest of them because it has all those game servers on there. You got to download several gigabytes per game. So anyway, long story short, rather than use this, I mean, it would make sense, but I don't want it to interfere with the games, because I want them to be as stable as possible, and I don't want any kind of issues. So I'm going to just start fresh, and I thought I would bring you along for the ride. So if you've never done this before, maybe you'll consider it after seeing this video. Who knows? I find that the software has been great, and I really enjoy it. So I'll just take you through this step by step. So without further ado, how to create a new VM in ESXi 6.5, and then how to hook up your graphics card so that you can start mining crypto with it. And let's get started. First things first, we're going to go here to create register VM. All right, and it's going to say, what do you want to do? Let's make a new virtual machine. Next, and I'll type in a name for it. So this will be Windows 10 Pro VM. Learn how to type, Goose. Home, or I'll call it mining. And here it is, compatibility. Yep, this is the highest version of compatibility, which is ESXi 6.5. Now, if I had other client software for other versions of ESXi, like if I had several versions of different VMs that have been running throughout time, like I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years, and I'm all the way back here on version 5.0, at that stage in the game, you needed to use a separate client to log into the management software or to adjust your server settings like I'm doing here. But at 6.5, everything moved into a web-based client. So if I make a virtual machine that's in 6.5, it's no longer backwards compatible. I can't use the older clients. All right, but that's okay. I don't mind that. I've already given that up by upgrading to 6.5. So here I am. We'll go with 6.5 and click on next. All right, and then we're going to select our OS, which will be Windows and Windows 10 64-bit. Click on next. All right, we're going to pick which hard drive we want to put that VM on. I'm going to use my SSD here. And it'll say how much RAM do you want. I'm going to use, I really only need 2 cores for this. We'll give it 4 gigs of RAM. That should be fine. And then I'm going to give it just an even 40 gigs. Should leave us plenty of room for updates and things like that, because we will need to update Windows. I'll leave my SCSI controller here at SAS. And then I'm going to change to USB 3.0 just in case I want to put in additional peripherals that use a USB 3.0 connection speed, like external hard drive, something like that. I'm going to leave the network adapter as is, but on my host device, I'm going to connect this to an ISO, which I store here. Now, if you're new to this, you can actually store files on your data store once you set that up. And what I do is I create a folder called ISO so that I can store different installation media here. So it's already on the hard drive itself, but the way this will work is once I select this, and you can see here I've got the Windows 10 Pro anniversary update ISO, which oddly enough doesn't really install the anniversary update. It installs like the base version of Windows, and then you download the new Windows Update Agent, and that takes care of getting it up to the latest version. But long story short, there's the ISO. What we're going to do is connect this to our CD/DVD drive so that when we start the VM up, it will look at the CD drive first and see that there's a bootable media there. So in our case, it'll be the Windows 10 installation media, and then it'll just load that. So that's what we're going to do here. And I'm going to go ahead and click on next. All right, and then this is just an overview. So let's take a look at everything, make sure everything is as it should be. That's the data store. This is a type of Windows. It's 2 CPUs, as in virtual CPUs. That should be how many cores, too. Let's go back. I just want to verify that. I want to make sure the core count is as it should be. Okay, CPU. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You click 1 here. That's how many CPUs, right? But the down arrow here lets you pick the cores per socket. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in, there's 1 socket. So if I put this on 2, it'll be 2 cores per socket. Okay, that's how that works. So the CPU, how many cores here, but you have to divvy it up. And it's not really going to make too much of a difference to Windows one way or the other. It's just how it lists it in the device manager. But basically what we're doing here is we're telling Windows that we're going to have 1 CPU with 2 cores. And that's pretty much it. And I'm not going to adjust any of this other stuff. One thing that I will change though is in the memory here. And this is just preparing it for the graphics card later on. I need to reserve this memory so that it is constantly locked to this machine. So all I have to do is click that little checkbox. All right, and we'll reserve that memory for this machine. That means it won't share memory between any of the other VMs. I mean, that's kind of what Hypervisor does. It's like an air traffic controller. You know, it's like, here's the amount of resources I have, which is all these cores and all this memory, and it'll just kind of divvy it up however it's needed between all the different virtual machines. But in this case, if I say, I want this 4 gigs right here to be reserved just for this machine, then whatever RAM is blocked off for this machine can't be used for any of the other virtual machines. All right, and you need that to be set for your graphics card, because that can really mess things up in terms of passing through your graphics card. It may not. It's looking for a set amount of RAM. It's not going to like not seeing that. So best explanation. All right, whatever. Let's go to next. Now that's been fixed. We've got that correct. All right, cool. Everything is looking good. Let's go ahead and click on finish. All right, so as you can see, it just popped up here in my virtual machine list. So what I can do now is power this on. So I'll just click on the link here, and that'll take you to this additional screen, which basically shows us all the information about the computer, the virtual machine, and it's ready to go. So if I click on the play button here, I'll get a little breakout box. This is my console, and you see it started immediately into Windows. All right, and that's because it read the ISO off of the CD that I attached. All right, so here we're going directly into setup. So let's go ahead and go through the motions here. Install now. And what it'll do is it's going to take us more or less to F-Disk. I mean, it's not really, it's like a GUI version of F-Disk. I will skip the product key for right now because I don't have one for this particular install, and that's okay. I mean, Windows will operate just fine without being activated, but you will get that little message that says please activate Windows, which you can definitely do at a later date. And so right here, what we're going to do, instead of upgrade, because there's no version of Windows on here yet, we'll just go to custom, which means install Windows only, even though that says advanced. But as you see here, the amount of space I gave for the virtual hard disk is 40 gigabytes. So that's exactly what's appearing here, is 40 gigs. And that's the only drive that we need to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and click next on that, and it will immediately begin copying those files out of the ISO, which is already on the hard drive, over to the virtual disk that we created. And then it'll go ahead and start installing that. So I'll just fast forward through this and we'll pick up where we left off. Okay, looks like Windows is pretty much installed over here. It's asking once again for the product key, but we can click do this later. And then I will go ahead and customize my settings, which basically means turning off everything because there is no need. We'll click on next. And same thing here, I don't need any of these features whatsoever. It's a virtual machine, it's not going places, I don't need it to know my location. It's great for a laptop, you know, if you are on the go. Let's see, who owns this? My work or school or me? Let's make it me. I'll click on next. And I am going to skip this step because I don't need to use my personal login, but I'll just go ahead and give it a basic name like owner. I will just give it a generic password. There's Windows. Now, it's going to take a while for this thing to start updating because it's brand new. One of the first things that I'll want to do is take the ISO. See, it's already updating some things. All right, let's close this down. We'll come back to it. All right, see how there's a message here that says VM Tools is not installed on this virtual machine? What VM Tools does is it allows you to get better resolution and better display properties. It helps your mouse precision in the VM, especially when you're working with the console. So we're going to install that on the machine. So that's probably one of the most important things you can do after you got a fresh copy of Windows. So we'll go ahead and click on Actions, and we'll go here to where it says Guest OS and click on Install VMware Tools. All right, what that'll do is unmount the ISO from the Windows 10 installation media and then remount a new ISO, which will help us to install that. So just click on this console again. You see here, it just popped up. It says DVD drive VMware tools. Tap to choose what happens. So we'll click on that, and then we'll run setup. But let me get rid of, well, actually, yeah, let me just run setup. That's fine. Yes. All right, I'm going to get rid of this update OneDrive. There we go. And VMware tools will install. It all goes pretty quickly if you have an SSD, honestly. It's great. It makes installing new operating systems on a VM very quick and easy and painless. The most difficult part is downloading the updates and stuff, because the download does take quite a while. All right, let's see. Let's click on next here. We're going to do a complete installation, because if I ever want to move this VM off of my ESXi server and into another format, like another workstation or onto another computer, I can do that, and the VMware tools will be already here and ready to go. Click on next, install. If you know you're never going to move the VM, you can just leave it on typical and just install it that way. All right, so we'll probably have to reboot, I'm thinking. Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and restart. And the cool thing is, I mean, this is all happening virtually. Like, it still amazes me that this is a thing. Now that we've installed new display adapter drivers, I'm going to right-click here, go to Device Manager, and just see how everything is looking. Display adapters. All right, this is the VGA. No notices here. The monitor is just a generic plug and play. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and right-click on my desktop, go to Display Settings, and then Advanced, and I'll be able to choose my resolution here. And I want to go to Windows website and do the update agent, because I want to get this up to the latest version of Windows as quickly as possible. So we'll go ahead and start downloading that. Shouldn't take too long. But it does take quite a while to download the actual files, which can be a little bit annoying. One thing you might try doing is, and I'm not sure it'll work, but you go to Update, check for Update. You'll see it hasn't looked yet. I'm going to go to Advanced, and then choose Updates for other Microsoft products. I want everything. I'm going to Notify to schedule to restart. I never want this machine to restart on its own. Choose how updates are delivered. I want this to be PCs on my local network, not PCs on the internet. That doesn't speed anything up, really, not in my experience. But the local network may get some things from the other VM, so that could be helpful. At least add to the speed of downloads and all that. So, okay, that looks pretty good. Let's close that down. We've got this, so let's run it. Click on yes, and update now. CPU's good, memory's good, disk space is good. Let's do this. All right, so we can do this in the background. It'll get the update ready. It's going to take forever and a day. Okay, guys. Windows 10 has been updated. Let's log in. Hi. We've got some updates for your PC. This might take several minutes. Boy. Like if you've had to sit through this. Okay, looks like updates are installed, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. One of the things that, let me close this. What's nice about running a virtual machine like this, if I go to Actions, I can go to Guest OS and Shut Down. All right, and this will shut down the machine gracefully. It can only happen because we installed VMware tools. But what's really nice is that it's not like pulling the plug. It's literally like going in there and physically pushing the shutdown button. So as you'll see, that's reflected here now. The machine has been shut down. Okay, so all my machines are shut down. What I'm going to do here is under Host, I am going to right-click that and go to Enter Maintenance Mode. Yes. And what that will do is prevent my ESXi server from automatically starting up any of the virtual machines. I'm going to power this machine down now and go physically install the graphics card. Okay, so here's my new R9 280X. I thought I would do a little bit of an unboxing here for you. So let me just adjust this. I apologize for the frame rate here on my camera. I'm realizing that it's a little... One of these days I'll get something that's worthwhile. Anyway, let's get into this. Ooh, very nice. So here it is. In slow motion, as it seems. Crazy. But XFX, you can see up top, got a little Sapphire logo. You can see it's set up for Crossfire. That's pretty cool. Single 8-pin and 6-pin power connectors. PCB looks good. Everything seems to be on the up and up. That I like. It's a little bit dusty, but not too bad. You can see in the... If you look really closely in these heatsink grills, there's a little bit of dust caked in there, but well, it's not too bad, really. All in all, it's looking good. I really like the fact that it came with the box. That's very nice.
Here's our card. Here's our server. Let's go ahead and mount that in the top PCI slot. Click. Always want to secure it with a couple of screws. Got our 8-pin and our 6-pin. That's probably about as nice as that's going to get. Go ahead and pop the top on. Boy, don't get much easier than that, does it? All right, moment of truth. Let's turn it on. Okay, so there is the graphics card installed. I have it run over here to this monitor, which is really important. You need a monitor connected to it so that it has, you know, some signal. And I think that may have been my problem in the past. I've tried to do pass-through here, and it just hasn't worked. And I think it's because I never had a monitor connected to it. So hopefully this monitor will clear up any of my issues. Let's go upstairs and find out.
Okay, so here we are back on our management console, and as you can tell by the caution tape here, the server is still in management mode. That means none of these VMs started up automatically or anything, so that's good. We don't want anything starting up just yet. What I do want is to make sure that it senses the card. So I'm going to click on Manage, Hardware, and PCI devices. And yep, you can see already there's two here listed for AMD. The first of which is the HDMI audio portion of the card. And then the second one here is the actual video driver. Now, most of the tutorials and forums that I've read about passing through a card like this tell you to just pass through the video portion. Okay? But since we're working with Windows 10, and not Windows 7, which typically what would happen if you pass through the audio portion to a Windows 7 VM, it would tend to blue screen. But with Windows 10, I think the drivers are a lot more, they're just a lot more forgiving. So I'm going to try and pass through both of these. This will just be first attempt. We'll see what happens. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle pass through. All right. And now these are enabled for pass through. After we enable this for pass through, there's a couple changes we got to, well, there's one very significant change we need to make, and it's really based in the world of Linux. There's a pass through map file I want to make sure is updated to accept this device. All right, and that's going to take a little bit more advanced command line, but we'll get to it, no problem. Let's see here. All right, guys. This is it right here. This is what we need to adjust. Okay, there's a file in ESXi VMware called passthrough.map. All right, we have to edit this file and make sure that the hexadecimal address is correct for both the video and the audio portion of the device. Okay, so let's go do that with our command line. So we're going to cd etc VMware, and there's a editor program called VI, and we'll do that for passthrough.map. Okay, so here's the pass-through map, and you have to use your up and down arrow keys because we're in command line. All right, and they have NVIDIA here, and all right, but they don't have the ATI, so we're going to add the ATI to this. So I'm going to click or press Insert. All right, and then enter. And then we'll start a new line here, ATI, enter. All right, and then we're going to enter in the hexadecimal address for that. All right, so we'll come over to the management console and click on the video portion of this card, and you'll see we've got some information down here. All right, and what we need is both the vendor ID and the device ID. Okay, so the vendor is X or 0x1002. We don't need the 0x part, we just need the last 4 here, so it's 1002. So I'm going to add that here, 1002 space, and then I'm going to put the device ID, which is 6798. All right, we're going to link. All right, and then I'm going to do false. All right, we're going to add now the second one, which is the audio portion. All right, so same vendor ID, but now it's a different device ID, which is AAA0. AAA0, we'll link that as well. False. All right, and when you're done, escape colon WQ. That means write and quit. So we hit enter, and now just to make sure it's actually there, we'll cat passthrough.map. And as you see at the very bottom, it's listed. All right. So we're in good shape there. I can go ahead and exit out of my command line. And now we are good to restart this system. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click host and reboot. All right, now that we've got it all rebooted and everything, it's time to start passing through the graphics card. So I have to exit maintenance mode first. I'm just going to right-click host and go to exit maintenance mode. And now that we're ready to go, we can click on the new machine and go to edit. And here is where we can add other device. So we'll click add other device, PCI device. We need not 1 but 2 because we have also the audio portion of that, right? So here is first the video portion, which is the 280X, and then the second one would be HDMI audio. Okay, 1 and 2. We'll click save, and now that's it. I mean, all that's left to do is power it on. So let's see what happens here. Maybe we get lucky. Oh. Nope, this is what happened to me last time. Hold on. It actually did something. Instead of just spinning, maybe it is working. It's working.
It's working! It's working!
All right. This is a good sign, guys. No blue screens, no nothing. It's actually doing what it's supposed to do. Now, I've had a lot of trouble trying to get this to work, but I think ultimately what my problem was not having a monitor connected. I've done it with 2 other graphics cards, but I just didn't have that monitor on it. So let's get in here, and we're going to download drivers for that card. Well, first of all, let's make sure it's even detected, right? So I'll right-click and go to Device Manager, and my goodness, this is tiny, huh? Oh yeah, here we go. Microsoft Basic Display Adapter. It's here. Does it say anything under sound? It's got the HDA, yeah, high definition audio device. So that one doesn't even really need anything. It's right here. So we're going to install the drivers. All right, so we want for Windows 10 64-bit. Hello. My mouse is disappearing in a strange way. Hello? I can't save as. All right, hold on. The mouse is playing games with me. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I know what's happening here too. This is very strange when this happens. Oh, I don't know how to fix it either. Right now, what's happening is whatever I'm doing is appearing on the other screen, and it kind of cuts the two screens in half. See how my mouse is disappearing halfway? This is a result of not extending displays properly. So there's a couple workarounds. So we're going to have to do that in order to make this work. So I'm going to go back downstairs. All right, and I'll show you what I do.
That's interesting. Not sure if that's a bad cable or what, but the mouse pointer looks pretty good. It's just whatever else is there, not so good. But on my little laptop here, I was able to get back in there and download the right files. So let's go ahead and run this, and that should install the ATI drivers for the 280X. And it blue screened. So it looks like it's automatically rebooting. Or did it just shut down? I'm not sure. This monitor went blank. Yeah, it looks like it probably shut itself down. Alright, let's do a reboot here. But I'm going to... Oh, wait. Tell you what, Windows 10 is really robust. Just started right back up. I have a feeling, though, it's the HDMI audio device that's causing that. So what I might have to do is just disable it altogether. We'll give it one more shot. But see, once again, I'm getting that halfway. I don't even know. Yeah, I can log in here, but it's like, I don't know. It doesn't line up properly. Oop. Yeah, it's weird how halfway it just disappears. Although, take a look here. It is actually showing up on this screen now. Okay, I went full screen here, and it looks like this monitor's working okay. Alright, so let me go back to Device Manager and see what it's got here under Display Adapters. Oh, look at that. It did install the drivers. I'm surprised it blue screened on the way out. That's weird. I didn't see Radeon actually come up over here, but yeah, there it is. Huh. That's strange. Wow, look at this. And it's not giving me any problems about opening either, which is great. All right, so we'll go over here to Global Overdrive, Accept, and let me just full screen. Wow, okay. So we have a little bit of a different interface because it's an R9 series. So let's go ahead and install Awesome Miner, and we'll see what happens.
I do apologize for the back and forth here, but this is kind of the nature of the beast right now. I am installing now on my upstairs computer so that you can have screen capture. Otherwise, I'll be doing all of this on the laptop, and it's just kind of a bear. So, Awesome Miner is now installed and running. Great. All right, so you guys have all seen this, I'm sure. Let's just do a quick managed miner. No, we'll do profit switching. It's fine. 110 Pro VM mining. AMD GPU. Good. All right, and we'll do custom pools. Start up a new pool here. Mining pool hub. What shall we start with, huh? What's hot right now? Let me see. All right, Z Classic. Okay. So let's just set it up for that. Eventually I'll add all of my coins in a minute, but I just want to see if it actually works. Finish. All right. Oh, and before we get started, I want to add my Awesome Miner folder to the exclusions list because I don't want it to cause any problems later on. So let's see here. We're going to go back to app data local. Awesome Miner. Select folder. Yes. Okay, great. Now that's out of the way. Let's this is without any adjustments to the clock settings. Let's see if it blue screens. Hey, hey. Looks like she's running. Get out of here. Now, I didn't do any benchmarks on the card or anything like that, but I will, and make sure that I set all of my hash rates as they need to be. That way the profit switching will work more efficiently, rather than using whatever it has programmed in. But let's see if we actually have a report of what the hash rate is. Oh, not bad. I mean, that's a full blast, but 302, 307, and that will get us $3.30 roughly. Back over here, that's saying 296. Now again, we're running full blast. I would venture that this temperature is going to rise very quickly. So I'd want to make sure that we're not exceeding our limits. But that looks like a pretty average hash rate right now. I'm not going to log this just yet, but let's see if we can get into over here and take a look at our global settings, our overdrive settings, and okay, here we go. So our wow, it's giving guys, I'm really floored by the fact that this is actually giving me a readout on this screen. Usually it doesn't let you do that. So this is actually working incredibly well. My power control, everything is at stock right now. So you can see it's pinned. Okay, we've maxed out our base clock at 1020 megahertz, and our memory clock is maxed out at 1500 megahertz. And of course it almost has 100% activity, which is great, but the temperature is reading 70, and that's probably going to continue to climb, I would say, pretty rapidly, especially given the fact that this card is a bit of a power hog. I wish I could see how much power it's drawing right now, but given that this is already hitting 70, I want to dial back some of my my core clock here. So I'm going to put this at about 890, all right, and see what that does to the performance. All right, and I've done that on my R9 390. Okay, so there we go. Now I probably just hammered our hash rate for right here. So we went 296, 291, 285, 284. Now let's see what the next one's going to be, because that's what the new clock rate. 279, 278. Not terrible, guys. I mean, we've only dropped about 30 hashes per second. Not even 23 hashes per second. Let's say it was at 300, you know, as an average. So, I mean, it's just about 20 something hashes per second. All right, still $3. All right, let's see what that's done to our temperatures. And all right, it's going back down a little bit. 71, 72. It's a little toasty. We may need to drop the power too. Yeah. All right, so you see core clock is at 890, but temperature is pretty consistently now. Oh, still going up. All right, we're going to have to dial back power. So let's just go ahead and take this back about 10% and see what happens with that. All right, hit apply. All right, once again, knocks everything back down. And once that temperature gets to, as you know, maybe as close to 65, I mean, I'll live with maybe 66 or 7 if it's doing something particularly, I mean, and also, you know, Equihash algorithm is probably not one of the most stressful on the card. Maybe what we should do is add Aetherium just to be on the safe side. So let's add one more pool. We'll do the Aetherium pool. That's just straight up Aetherium. All right, now I have 2 here. I can start my new pool group. Just click on Add. Mining Pool Hub. Custom. We'll set the algorithms to unspecified and throw them both in there. Okay. Nice. And now over here on profit profile or profit switching, I'll put this on ETH and see if that actually connects. It should. Okay. All right, and what it'll do is close down automatically the Z Classic mining and switch over to Aetherium. Yeah, all right. All right, it's good. It's doing its thing. So let's take a look here. All right, we have lowered our core clock down to 890 and our power by 10%. And Aetherium tends to ramp up both of those. All right, 10 mega hashes. It's not great for Aetherium. But it's not far off from what I would have anticipated for this particular card, honestly. So just looking at my own chart here, R9 280X, from whattomine.com, they were saying about 11 mega hashes. So let's take a look. Yeah, we're a little bit under that because we've lowered the power and the GPU core clock. So let's go back over to this and see where we are temp-wise. 63 degrees. And we're going up, but I just want to see if we can hold steady at 65. 67. All right, we're still going up. 66, 67. I can live with that, honestly. I think it's fine. We've got 2 fans. One other that's worth checking out here. Remember I made this and I showed these different charts. The 280X actually does a decent job of Lyra 2 Rev 2. It appears as though it does the best job out of all of the cards, even the Vegas. That's strange. So that being said, let's throw some Vert coin in here. Or maybe better yet, let's do Mona coin because that seems to be paying out more. And see, because this tends to ramp up the temperature as well. So I just want to put it through the paces, you know what I mean, to see how far we can push this thing, because I want to be able to dial in the right settings. But let's see how we do with Mona. This is the Lyra 2 Rev 2, and it's using SG Miner. Wow. Well, it's terrible. Is that an error? Unless it's just the wrong... No, Lyra 2 Rev 2. Yeah. Oh, look at that. I'm only getting about 4 mega hashes. Did whattomine.com not report the correct information for the 280X? Alright, we're going to switch to Vertcoin. We're climbing. We're about 69 degrees using this Lyra 2 Rev 2 algo, so I know that pushes most graphics cards a little bit harder than anything else, so let's see how well we do with Vert. It's the same algo. It shouldn't make much difference in terms of hash rate performance, but I'm pretty shocked. Well, rip. So as you can see, we're mining the Lyra 2 Rev 2 at 68 degrees. Not so good in terms of payouts per day. This is definitely not profitable to mine. However, the Equihash algorithm seems to be of the best right now. So if I were to go over here to profit switching and put this on my profit switching pool, it's going to look at, well, in fact, let's just put it on Aetherium for now. 69 is a little toasty. I mean, it's not terrible. I don't want to really exceed 70 if I can help it. And I'm just going to record all of my hash rates in here now so that profit switching works as it's intended. Okay, so I've decided to go ahead and configure remote desktop so that the screen looks a lot more attractive and it's a lot easier to read. So something that just popped up, and I thought this was interesting. Once I configured Awesome Miner for all the coins that I like to mine, I noticed that music, which works using ET-hash algorithm, which is the same as Aetherium, actually hashes way faster. It's at 15 instead of 10 mega hashes per second. So this is very interesting to me. And right now, because it's on auto profit switching, it appears to me as though music coin is up, and so it's making a decent profit. So therefore, it's chosen to mine this. And you can see here, I mean, this is to verify that those hash rates are being listed here. Everything is a little over 15, so it's looking good. And we're mining at about 70 degrees, which is actually plenty fine. All right, let me show you my GPU settings here. So real quick, you got the core clock down to 800 megahertz. All right, the memory clock is at its base, which is 1500 megahertz. All right, and I've taken the power down by negative 20%, so that's all the way down as far as I can go. All right, and the fan I left at auto, which is doing a pretty good job, around 50 to almost 60%, keeping the temperature right around 70. So I've been very pleased with that. You know, the results so far have been actually plenty good for me. So guys, if you made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. Really means a lot to me. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. I did work hard on it. And be sure to hit subscribe and ding the bell, because I got a future series coming where I'm going to show you how to use Awesome Miner to mine one specific coin. So if you have a rig that you want to set to Aetherium only or Zcash only, I'm going to show you how to do that for each algo or each coin. That way you can just go, and my goal is 5 minutes or less. I want to get in and get out, show you how to do it, and then you'll be good to go. So that's it from me, guys. Thanks so much. God bless.